You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansite.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Hello and good evening, all you wonderful Blue Jays fans out there. I am Craig Borden, your host of the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. We got the whole gang together tonight. I can't be more excited. And then we're just going to talk all crazy things going on with this team riding a current 6-game winning streak. But first things first, I'm going to have to say hi to Liz because it's been a couple of weeks. How you been?
Guys, honestly, I've been at the ballgame. And so that's, sometimes you have to go to the baseball game.
It's
research. I was doing research. I was doing on the field, in the stadium research. And I will say this. It was great research. I'm happy that I did it. I watched a few Jeff Hoffman failed closes. Bad research. But lately, the research has been pretty good, guys. And so, I don't know. We're on a winning streak. Hope it continues. Fuck the Yankees. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to joining you for some of that research in the very near future.
So, I might too. Actually, there's a soft rumor that the Big Smoke might be calling if the Jays make the playoffs. But as usual, and normally I don't come to you live from the palatial backyard of the Lions compound, but there are very high level HR phone calls going on inside the house. And so as the hub of all things, and it's, I'm not going to lie to you, this has been some of the most fun baseball I've been able to watch in a long time. I mean, every single game is your heart's going, it's just, and so much, we have so much interesting stuff to talk about. And I think that's the best part of it is when you do this weekly, it all just gets crammed in, where if we were doing this daily, it gets a little drab, and so that's why I like this one. We're just gonna get ready, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna punch you right in the nuts with all of this stuff.
Doing the daily one, I will tell you, lately has been very on the upbeat. So on that note, with us in the extra spot tonight, we got our buddy Matt from Jay's Journal. How we doing, bud? Good.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Like Jason and Liz said, it's a fun time to be watching Blue Jays baseball. I was talking to a buddy about it the other day, and he's like, last year, by the time the 4th inning rolled around, I'd be done with the game.
You knew they were coming back.
He's like, now sometimes I don't even start watching until the 7th because that's when all the good stuff happens. So yeah, it's an awesome time of year to be a Blue Jays fan when they're playing this well and they've got that lead in the division. It's been one of the most fun seasons I can remember in a long time.
Cardiac kids, baby. Cardiac kids.
Yes, 100%. So on that note, let's talk the cardiac part of that first, because unfortunately, since our last episode, a few things have happened. And one of that is we are losing currently from this lineup, our, everyday shortstop, current American League hit king, all these wonderful things about Bo Bichette. Liz, go for it.
We're not losing him. We're just saving him for later.
Yeah. There it is. I like it. Appreciate that.
And him on short has been awesome. I think he made a play where, it's been a few really good plays, but where he last 2 nights ago, where he fell in the dirt, scrambled up, and then threw it like magic. And that's happened a few times. And I really enjoy this style of defensive play that I don't see a lot with Bichette. And if I do, it's different. So it's and I will say this, the only silver lining in this Bo Bichette cloud is we're gonna have Santander back, I think. So that's cool. So we'll see how that goes. But that's a nice little substitute in terms of just bat power. So that's my hot take.
I think we have seen this play out for a multiple Stanley Cup champion in the last number of years. I like to call it the Kucherov. That's where you get a very mild injury and you remove that superstar player from your lineup to give that fool a break. And then you bring him back and everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. So, I feel like Bo has had a season. So you guys remember all of the times during the last number of years where we were like, oh my God, September Bo and June Bo and May Bo. It's been 2025 Bo. The guy's been dialed all year long. And I don't think an injury like this is going to slow him down. I think if you guys watch Schneider talk about it, he had this very wry smile when he was talking about it. He was not looking disappointed. He was not looking downtrodden. He was like, we're going to have this guy at full clip coming in, and no one's going to know how to handle him. They can't play him right now. They don't know where he's going to hit the ball. He hits it everywhere. So if you've got that, aligned with the fact that now we've seen that Jimenez can play short, as good or better than anybody out there. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
It's almost like they are giving him an extended audition there, right? I mean, they already have him locked up for what, 5-6 years. So that's like, and I've written a couple articles already talking about that in terms of, the right side of the infield between Guerrero and Jimenez is already costing them a pretty penny. So how much more are they going to go to give Bichette a mega contract extension? Now, I think they should. I think they need to lock him up long term, but that's a lot of money you have invested in 3 positions, right? So I think this is almost the best of both worlds, where you can have Jimenez kind of show off what he can do at the shortstop position while you're saving Bo, whether he is really injured or not. You get him off his feet, give him some time to rest and relax, and then if Santander does come back, you have an easy spot to slot him into the lineup without taking away playing time from someone else. I think when you get to the playoffs, though, is Bo back to being your everyday shortstop? Do you just slide Jimenez back over to second? Because I think an outfield makeup of Springer, Varsho, and Santander, it's probably worse than the outfield makeup of Springer, Teoscar Hernandez, and Lourdes Gurriel from 2022, defensive-wise anyway, right? Lineup-wise, those guys are bangers. But, it's really interesting, the timing with this Bichette injury, and hopefully just as much as Jimenez is showing off at shortstop, hopefully Santander can come back and show off what he's got in that bat over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think that right there might be the most interesting part of what is going on, because right now he's hit a home run in Buffalo in 5 games. He's batting I think 222 I saw, so it's not like there's a ton going on with the bat, but you want to, when you bring him up, somebody's going to have to go down. And we've seen this lineup kind of being a well-oiled machine around the Bo Bichette thing, even over the last, week. Are you going to send Joey Loperfido, who once again is showing why he deserves to be an everyday player, even after his most recent send down? Are you sending somebody down, or are you just going to hope and pray that Anthony Santander just starts destroying baseballs in Buffalo and comes in hot? Because that's what I think you unfortunately need to have. Does anybody want to run with that?
I mean, I think for Loperfido, I think unfortunately he is the odd man out. You're not going to send down Miles Straw. You're not going to send down Nathan Lukes. Everybody else, Ty France is there. The only other guy you might send down is Schneider. But David Schneider has been on a heater the last week or so. So you're not going to send him down. And
that's probably has
more position.
Are you better off with the smoke?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think Loperfido would be the odd man out. Now, you could maybe lose because it is September and you have the extra 2 roster spots. Maybe you lose a guy from the rotation and have an extra guy on the bench. You could run with that. But all of a sudden now the bullpen is completely settled down. So you don't want to mess with that. So, yeah, I think, unfortunately, Loperfido might be the odd guy out here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I think there's a possibility, I think that the Jays have established this sort of next man up. And I feel like they're even okay. Like even a guy like Nathan Lukes might be fine to send down for a couple of weeks and bring back up. Or I think they'd all be okay with it, knowing that they want to be there in October. I think that this team is really, really, really focused on making it to the World Series this year, competing for a World Series and hopefully winning. And I feel like when you see guys like Snyder and you see guys like Loperfido talking after the game, it was amazing and so refreshing to watch him talk about going down, doing his work, and just coming right back up and getting right back into it. So for me, I mean, I think because Joey's young, he's probably the most, physically mobile, like he's got the least amount of stuff to take places. I would assume just girlfriend. I don't think he's married. Even if he is, it's the least amount of work for him to get doing anything. So I would think it would be Loperfido. I like you said, Matt, I don't think there's anybody else really that you can move at this point. But I mean, October will be a whole new ball of wax. Like when we get there, if we get there, there's going to have to be some decisions that are made. And like you said, do you start to look at a better defensive outfield? Do you start to look at, what the defensive pluses are? Because I mean, as we've seen in the last couple of years, I mean, the home run is great, but if you can't defend the simple stuff, that's what murders you. Like errors are what are going to kill you. And it's the team that makes the least amount of errors is going to win the game. So, I mean, it's I think it'll be is what it is, but I think Loperfido knows the game.
Yeah. So there's a couple interesting comments from our buddy Mike in Toronto in the chat box here that thought I'd mention in the midst of this fun we were talking about here with Santander. Already 200 of you in the show, by the way. Thank you very much for joining in. Santander is also a traditional slow starter. So I'm not arguing that he's in mini spring training right now, but is that slow start going to take him like 2 rounds into the playoffs to finally get going? Because I'm assuming we win a damn game this year in the playoffs, but I just don't know. And that's the other one. And then one that we didn't mention, but I do think he's become too good of a key cog and too ambidextrous for the Blue Jays to potentially think about letting go. And that is holding on to IKF still. He was not part of this team's plan. Is it better to keep him or Loperfido at the end of the day, Mike? I give you a good shout out to that one. That's a good question, but I think he's joined this culture in that locker room and picked up right where he left off. So there's a nice piece to that veteran presence too. So,
Liz, yeah, I mean, Liz
anyway.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree. That's it. Like, I agree. I mean, I have a question, guys, regarding IKF. Was he like a sought after thing? Was it like, what was going to happen to him if we didn't take him?
He was done.
So
yeah,
he fell in the lap.
I mean, he also got released by Pittsburgh because they are the cheapest franchise ever, right? He was like 80 at bat shy from like a $250,000 bonus. I mean, and they also
the same thing they did to Rowdy Tellez the year prior.
Yeah,
and Pittsburgh Pirates are getting a reputation that they really shouldn't want for these guys that are the veteran presence on their team, trying to build up some of these youngsters. Nobody's going to want to go there, even if it is their last ride.
Yep.
So
out of anyone, I think he might be more motivated than anyone to stay on this team and contribute.
I agree with that statement.
I do too, and I think that IKF brings something different. He brings something that I think the Jays saw a couple of years ago and liked. I mean, he was always an important guy when he was a Yankee. He always seemed to come up with a clutch hit. He always came up with a good play. He seems to the guys seem to really like him in the clubby. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, IKF might be one of those guys that you just keep around like Kirk Gibson when he was hurt for the Dodgers. I mean, they had no business keeping Kirk Gibson going into the playoffs, and yet they keep him, and he has 3 massive at bats in that playoffs and World Series. We've seen it time and time again where guys they hang on to a guy who's either barely strong enough to play or just glue guys or guts guys. And IKF is a guts guy. Like, I mean, he's gonna spill it. Him and like, if you could get a team full of Varshos and IKFs, good God, can you imagine that team? Like, it might as well throw Brad Marchand in there in baseball gear. Like, it's one of those things where they must be so hard to play against a guy like Varsho. He's so hard to get out. Anything hit in center field, he's more than likely going to catch. And if he doesn't, if you try and challenge him, he's got a good enough arm to throw you out. And, he looks like they found him at a softball field on the way to the game. It's incredible to me. But, it's one of those things where I feel like, again, the Jays have some really, really, really interesting choices coming up. And I mean, we we overanalyze this because we only look at the Jays. If we were to look at any of the other teams that are pushing Philly, like they have some maybe even larger, decisions to make when it comes, because they do have lineups of legitimate all-stars all the way through, and 4 or 5 guys on the bench that any team would take. And so, like go back and look at last year who the Dodgers left off their lineup, and you're like, oh, well, he makes any other team. So does he. So
one of them's our coach right now, Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think what's interesting about adding Santander back in the lineup too is I think there was an interview with Christian Yelich the other day, and he basically said, once you get to the playoffs, it comes down to who's going to hit the most home runs. And I think, over the last couple of years, I mean, look at, Freddie Freeman had that game-winning grand slam last year in Game 1 of the World Series, right? And Santander
called that on this show.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was amazing. Hey, Matt, if you go back, we should pull that clip up for it and just send you that clip. It was so incredible.
We have our buddy Brian Parup, who does the mint cases and stuff like that for baseball and collecting cards and stuff like that. And he's a huge Dodgers fan. And we were just talking baseball stories. And I'm like, he's the only Dodger fan I really, truly can enjoy having this kind of a talk with, because they're getting a little too high on their horse. And we were talking about what would be some cool things to see for the World Series. And I just said, hey, Freddie Freeman's hurt right now. Brian, what the hell do you think about him having a Kirk Gibson moment? And he goes, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if he hit like a 3-run home run or something? And we topped that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, send me that clip for sure.
Will do. Pick up right where you were.
Yeah, so with Santander, I mean, he's a guy who has the background and the pedigree to have a moment like that. He's also a guy who could whiff 19 times in a playoff series and do absolutely nothing. So, like you said, Jason, they have some interesting choices that they have to make. But again, when you do get to the playoffs, it does feel like the more guys you can stick in the lineup that can just go yard, the more likely you are to win a game. However, the Blue Jays haven't based their offense on that at all this season. So maybe they might be bucking the trend this postseason.
I mean,
good pitching usually beats good hitting is the other fun piece of that whole thing. So I'd rather have a bunch of these grinders than.
But traditionally,
and this is no ding against Tony Taters, because if he's healthy, he's one of the more elite power bats in baseball. I am not arguing that whole thing, but there is something to say that this team has been working pretty good all season since he was batting $180 in this lineup to begin April. That. Maybe this team is okay without it, but to your point, if he's the next guy, Liz, I can see the wheels turning.
No, I mean, I agree with that one. That was it. My wheels were just turning, like
turning in the right direction.
I think that the prototypical, like Christian Yelich saying that, is interesting to me, because the Brewers are not that team. The Brewers are not a home run hitting team. Meaning they're going to small ball you to death. They want 1,000 hits in a game, and I think, it may be false bravado that he's laying out there. So the pitcher's like, oh, well, if they're going to start trying to put it out, maybe I'll try and throw him a few more fastballs up here. I mean, Yelich can put him out, but I think the big thing, and we've seen this lately, especially with, some of the teams that do rely very, very, very heavily on the home run, is they hit a point in a lot of parts of the season where it just isn't going out anymore. Like, I mean, the Yankees traditionally they've got a short porch in left, so a lot of balls go out of there. But you get them in some of these bigger stadiums, or you get them in adverse conditions, or Gosman the other night, where he's absolutely throwing BBs. Who cares? And the other thing too is, if you don't get runners on, and traditionally the teams that hit a lot of home runs don't walk either. They're really aggressive. They're trying to kill the ball. They're like watching Tampa strike out for the last 2 games on high fastballs, knowing they're coming. He might as well have said out loud, I'm going to throw you 2 back to back, and they're only 94. So I hope you don't hit them. But that's the difference. The difference is taking that swing and cutting it in half and smashing one into the gap like Diaz does, or it's taking hacks like they were taking at the end of the game there, thinking, well, I can end this with a homer. I mean, it's silly to think that way. And I mean, I'll, like, in every game, I'll take 10 base hits over 4 home runs every single time.
Yep. Just get on base.
Get on base. Move them around the pillows.
Get on base. Make things happen.
So
okay. I'm going to change. I'm
it.
changing direction on this conversation. Now we've spoken about as I steal the podcast for today. We've spoken about our pickups. Why don't we talk about our drippity drops? And by that, in the name of Elvis, he's out of the building. Martinez, which I'm annoyed about because I have like a whole bunch of signed rookie cards because like he was like the guy for a minute there. Well, I mean, I got him in for cheap and like packs and stuff. But yeah, guys? Is anybody surprised by this?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised that if they were leaning towards this decision, that they didn't try to move him at the deadline to try and recoup what little, because he was still ranked like one of their top 5 prospects before the draft. And then when they
good year in Buffalo too.
Yeah, and when they redid the prospect rankings, he fell down a little bit. But in some of the deals they made, I'm surprised they didn't. I think the deals they made at the deadline were fine, but I'm surprised they didn't maybe try to offer him to Cleveland to get Bieber and maybe an extra prospect or maybe a middle reliever or something like that. Right now it feels like they didn't need it, but like to not get anything for this guy at all it's a shock to me for sure.
Does anyone think that maybe the 80 gamer is way more than what we know about? Like, does anybody think that maybe this guy's got a serious problem and it maybe wasn't steroids, maybe it was something worse? I mean, it's pretty rare where you see a talent as highly touted as that just allowed to walk, basically. And I was just reading, and there doesn't seem to be anybody that's insanely chasing after this guy. So, I mean, maybe there is an issue that we don't know about. I mean, I would hate to have that happen, but I think we saw it with Alek Manoah. I feel like even though he did get Tommy Johns, or allegedly, I feel like there was so much more behind that move. There was mental, there was all kinds of stuff. He
was not having as good of a year as I remembered either, because I always just felt like I was seeing him in the highlights. I never actually looked at his stats until like 5 seconds ago. He was in 99 games this year for the Buffalo Bisons. He batted $176.
Yeah, he hasn't been good since that suspension.
Yeah,
weird.
Ironic.
Wait a second. Are you saying steroids help you hit baseballs?
They helped me hit them very hard.
Your brother Lyons is in the comments section.
Oh, he's never too far away, old cousin Troy. Cousin Troy making it back. He doesn't like it when we mess with our normal time zone.
Yeah, definitely. So, but no, there might have been something going on under the hood there for the Blue Jays with the Orelvis Martinez, and I definitely do not disagree. It's just surprising how fast he fell off. It's kind of almost impressive how fast it fell off for him. And in the midst of this whole thing, it's just hopefully they recoup that, because they have gotten some really good talent in the last couple of drafts. JoJo Parker looks really good, moving up really quickly now without having somebody like Orelvis Martinez in his way. So who knows?
But they are relatively deep in up the middle. Charles McAdoo, who they got from Pittsburgh for IKF last year, he had a really good season in Double-A.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, JoJo Parker that they drafted this year. Arjun Namala, he didn't have a great second half in Vancouver, but he looks like he can play defense really well. He looks like he can be a high contact guy. The power really wasn't there, but he's only 19.
He's also
fill in a little bit.
He needs to eat a couple sandwiches. Like, I mean, I watched him a lot.
I remember being 19 in that size too. So
he's got to go on the Boba Fett diet and fill out those pants in the back end a little bit more. But I mean, it's I think that one of the things that seems to happen with, I mean, prospects are such an interesting thing. And one of the things I was going to mention is, while the Jays are on the road right now, their Blue Jays future camp is going on at Rogers, which is super cool. It's Canadian kids from across the country that go to these tryouts and then get asked to pick. As a shout out, there are 3 kids there from North Vancouver, which is actually pretty cool. North Van is only about 40,000 people, and have 3 kids at that thing, and one of them got me one of the super cool Futures hats. Shout out to Xander. Remember Xander Geddes that we had on the show? Xander got me one of those rad hats. I'll have it next week.
Get him back on again too.
But it's amazing to see, these kids who are working their tails off in when they get into the muck. And I think Addison Barger talked about it a little bit this year, where he was caught in the muck a little bit. And it's hard to avoid, taking roids, or it's hard to avoid taking something or doing something to try and change that. And you've got to appreciate a guy like Barge who just stuck with his swing, stuck with it. And he's, I don't think anyone on this panel or anyone that you would talk to would say, hey, I'm glad Addison Barger is so good at defense. Like that was never a conversation we were going to have. And
he is pretty damn good at defense.
Though. Anywhere you put the guy, he's been great. He's been great. So, good for him.
No, you're right about the temptation, though. I mean, for so many people, the temptation to do that just to get noticed, to get drafted, is almost worth it. If you can, get yourself into a situation where you're going to be a top, chosen anywhere between the 1st and 10th round, that signing bonus might be life-changing money for some people, right? So there is that temptation there. And then after that point, if they make it in baseball, great. If they don't, well, they've got a little bit of seed money to do whatever else comes their way, right? I'm not advocating that that's the right way to do things, but I did play at a high level, and you did hear conversations like that of just people that are going, I just want to get, make a little bit of money off this, and I don't care about actually getting to the big leagues. And once I get that, then I'm set for life. And it's like that's a crazy way to think of it. Like
pro con.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But I do agree with you guys that there's some fun there to be had on a future episode. But we got to talk some things now. The tarp is officially off the field, and we have actual baseball going on. So far, George Springer is already singled and is on first base. 1 out with Vladdy at the dish. So we finally are not too bad. Half-hour rain delay, so it'll work. Something's going on. Or is Matt just stretching?
I thought he just cranked one. I thought Vladdy just cranked one.
Like, what did I miss? So on that note, so we got some comments to where I wanted to go in the comment things from cousin Troy here. Looking at what we've had over the last few weeks, we've had prospects come up and make immaculate debuts. We have some guys that have been having rough outings of late. What does this playoff roster actually look for the collective here this evening? Because you can make an argument that maybe Barrios is going to have the Mark Burley treatment from 2015. You got, all these things going on. Trey Yesavage has a record-breaking performance, which we will talk more about as well. But what does this playoff roster look like to you guys? Is it including somebody like we were talking about, dropping a pitcher with bringing in Anthony Santander and rocking the boat here on the pieces to this whole thing? Or is there just a pitcher that like I said, I would not be shocked if Jose Barrios is kind of, unfortunately, the outside guy looking in right now on this rotation, but I don't know. Thoughts?
I feel like it changes for me. I feel like it changes for me on who the top 3 guys are almost weekly. I think Gausman has never dropped out of the top 3. For a while, I was like, Scherzer has got to get the ball in game 1.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, maybe not. And then Bieber, every time he goes out, I'm like, yeah, he should probably be a guy that pitches in the first 2 games. Yeah, so I feel like it changes almost every time out. Barrios was having a really good stretch in the middle of the season. He hasn't been great the last couple of times out. At one time, I thought Eric Lauer was a lock to be in there just because he's the only lefty in the rotation. So you give them a bit of a different look. But after Savage's debut, it's almost like, how do you not give him 4 or 5 innings in the middle of a playoff series as well? Like, I don't know. I think for sure Gausman and Bieber are probably 1-2. And then it's really going to come down to who feels the best going into that playoff, that week going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Matt on this. I think that your locks are Gosman and Bieber. I mean, I think Yesavage, we could start now and talk till next Wednesday. I mean, there's so many things that
give him his own slot. All right.
Like the first of all, the release point is a release point that there's only been a handful of guys in the majors that have had a release point like that. It's super successful. It's so hard to read. It is what it is. And he looked way better than advertised. Like I saw him here at the start of the year. And he was just dusting guys. And we were like, who is this animal? And, I guess your assumption is that you're never going to see a guy that his first couple games are with the Canadians and then he ends the season with the Jays. I mean, I feel like it so rarely happens. But, I feel like Lauer's been really good in his spot in the pen. Like talk about a guy who just moves right out of where he was and right into a new spot and seems to be just as dialed as he was. I mean, it's great to see the middle relief have settled back in. I mean, the starters are giving them more at this point right now. But even to watch, Sir Anthony struggle a little bit and then, get it back together. And then Hoffman has come in twice and pitched well. Like, I mean, it's super interesting for me. And even the position players, like this could go on for like, I have no idea. If you put a gun to my head and said, give me a starting lineup, I'd have to update it almost every game, which sucks, but it's also awesome.
Yeah. Going to get popped due to indecisiveness, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding. So let's talk Trey Yesavage. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is Yesavage a babe? Does he get the?
Oh yeah.
He's cute. He's got a cute little face. He's somebody you'd want to go to prom with. He's got like a very boyish apple cheeks. Cute, real cute guy. Yeah.
Drives like a 1980 Ford F-150. F-150. Yeah. Like, he's not too pretentious. Good shape.
He's a good shape.
Solid.
Like he's not a danger babe. He's not a bad news babe. But he's like good news babe.
Yeah. So before we talk into Yesavage, I do have a fun question that we've danced on the line with it, but he is obviously very, very picked it up here. Does Louis Varland get a chance to close in this next couple weeks here a little bit?
I hope so.
Piece?
I hope so.
I say yes.
I say yes also. I still don't. Apparently, listen, we got a home run problem with our guy Hoffman. He let one go. Was it last night? Or the night before?
Night before,
maybe. Yeah. His velocity's down. And so I don't want that.
Yeah. I say let it ride for a little bit here for the end of the season and then figure it out if Varland is locked in like he has been the last few.
Yeah, Varland's been good. Or what about
the fish?
Fisher?
No, not the fish. What about how are we feeling about Cuban guy, good looking guy?
Oh, Rodriguez.
Yay, Rod. I like
Yay
Rod.
I like Yay Rod too, but he's been very much a roller coaster too.
The one thing that Varland does give you, if you can unlock it, is he has that sort of like Dexter, Hannibal Lecter, serial killer look to him, where like he's kind of laughing at you, but he's not laughing at you, and like I mean, if you
take the smoke.
Yeah, if like just he look like if he was to go, like that. But he kind of gives you that thing that you need a closer to have. Like Hoffman just doesn't have it. He looks like he looks like a frat guy. Like it's not. He doesn't have it. Even though like when he flexes, you're like no.
Nah.
But
it's like he looks like he should be a perfect setup guy.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Get in, get out, and I would love to see Varland like. He wears like odd colored shoes and his pants are too tight and like just the whole thing. I like the whole thing. Like you can get a whole thing out of it.
Bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
It's fine.
You get that kind of thing where Kevin Costner, after he tells Newt Belushi to, being the bull, right? I don't know where it's going to go. Just standing here catching it.
Yeah, like his fastball velo is sitting at 98. I mean, if you need 3 outs, just pump that.
Just pump it. Up, down, over, below, and then throw in 1 or 2 cutters. And I mean, you can't you can't mess with that stuff. And I mean, I feel like they try and get him to be a little too fancy sometimes. Like get the old, just tape Kirk's fingers just like this so he can't do anything else. When he's trying to go with anything else, it's just this. Just
zoom it in there.
Yep.
So, but like I said, I really want to take some time and talk Trey Yesavage because I'm very looking forward to what I'm trying not to jump off the cliff here and just say he's the next answer to our bullpen and start pitching whatever because it's only one start. But
it's too soon.
It was a very, very impressive first start.
I was like, I thought he should listen, man. I was like, if he can go 5, let 2 in, I'm cool with that. And he was a bit rocky at the start, and then he just owned it. He didn't seem like how scary would that be? You got your first inning, you knocked in a run, all these things happen. Like I'd be real spooked out. And he just seemed when he came out in the second, he just seemed like composed and like he had it.
Yeah, he won me $100 on a $10 bet, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, we don't endorse gambling unless you want to sponsor our show, and then
just like Major League Baseball,
Bet365, whatever it is, spend all
whatever you want.
Give
us your money.
Yeah, give us your money.
I was sitting there watching the Tampa Bay Rays try to swing a bat in that second inning, and I'm like, well, what are the numbers on it? And I was like, and then the second inning went through, and he's basically it was a second inning. He almost threw an immaculate inning, correct? Other than the umpire's an asshole. Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine, click. And next thing you know, he goes on a Toronto Blue Jays team record 9 strikeouts in only like 69 pitches too. That was, I think, the other part that was really impressive to this whole thing. He was just dialed in after that, completely locked up. The Rays had no idea what to do with him. And Jason, you mentioned the arm angle. It is a completely different look. And they were comparing it to all these people. And the one that I thought that was very telling and very showing where he could be at some point, I didn't realize how crazy close his delivery is to Justin Verlander.
It's so wild.
There's a video I reposted from Pitch Ninja that was literally like an overlay, and it's the exact almost like tomahawk throw that you get thrown over the top.
It's how Kershaw used to pitch too. Kershaw at the start of his career pitched very much like that, and it's such an effective way to throw because if you can start to get the ball to break different directions, even if you can start to get it to break down, because they're not expecting that. They're expecting the ball to stay where it is. It's a really tough. Not too soon at all. But it's a tough eye slot for the batter because it's so high, and you're trying to read the ball in his hand. Like there's been some talk that when there's a runner on first with Scherzer, that because he moves his hand away from his chest, he sits with his hand away from his chest, that they can see his grip, the guy that's on first. And so he's trying to pull the ball closer into his body so that they can't see it. With Yesavage, he doesn't care. He could turn his hand to the guy and be like, here, it's coming, good luck hitting it. So it's interesting to me to watch because we deal with some kids, my kids are 14. So you see some kids who have exploded in growth, and that kind of motion is something you see quite a bit when kids get real tall, real fast, because they had a high motion to start with. And as you get taller, the mound is shorter too, right? So when you're stepping on it, you're almost extending because your front foot extends, and then it's almost like a cricket throw down, and it's so hard to read, especially with high velo. So, it's one of those things where it makes him unique. And if we've said anything on this show over the years is pitchers are unique now. They are not athletes as much as they were. They are definitely specialists. And Trey has he has a specialty that is just his, or
he can miss bats.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. He can miss bats. And the one thing that stood out to me in that outing is that it's the first thing I've seen that you actually could see some of the other angles on. When you're watching minor league baseball and whatnot, you're only seeing the regular everyday TV view. You're not seeing too much from the catcher's point of perspective or anything like that. When he's coming from that high angle, most batters are trained to look for where the glove is first, and then you kind of assume the ball is going to be somewhere in that same motion. He's kind of like this, and then all of a sudden this ball just comes out over here. It's not the same throw the whole arm down and look for where the glove, and then the release point's not terribly far after that. But I just couldn't believe it, because I could imagine that being the reason that he had only 90 some odd innings in the minor leagues and he had 160 some odd strikeouts. It's slightly obnoxious.
How often had they rocketed him up pretty fast? Eh? Like how often?
Drafted last year all the way to the base.
That's wild, man. Yeah.
That's Paul Skeens.
I wrote a piece on how that specifically shows how much this front office thinks they're going to win this year. Is they have never done that. You know, the thing that irks me the most, I think, about this front office regime is like they've always tried to sell you on like years of control and, you know, don't worry about the guy, you know, don't worry about the guys winning now. We're going to have this guy for 6 years because we're not going to bring him up
a winner
this year. And, right. But so the fact that they drafted this guy, you know, just over a year ago, moved him up 5 levels, and are willing to sacrifice a year of service time to get him on a potentially playoff roster. That shows you how much they think that they can win this year. It's completely, you know, and I mean, kudos to them for you know, taking the leap here and getting the service clock started on Yesavage kind of early. But, you know, these opportunities only come up so often. And I think you have to try to take advantage of it the best you can.
So 400 almost of you in the collective all over social media listening in. We greatly appreciate all the fun in the cheap seats listening to chit-chatting with us. Hit us up with those more questions. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about with Trey Yesavage before I shift gears here to another fine gentleman who's been doing really, really well over the last week?
Let her rip, catcher Chip.
Woo!
Go ahead. Brandon Fisher. Wow.
Yeah. Where has this guy come? Where has this guy come from? And I mean, he's just incredible. And he's the same. I put him in that same category as Varlin, where he's just ice in his veins. Just nothing seems to phase this guy. In fact, when they were sending him back out the other night, he kind of looked like, oh, I'm going back out. Oh, cool. Let's go do this again. You know, like just his expectation seems low for, you know, for what he's going to be used for. But yeah, I mean, the guy's been incredible.
Yeah, I was shocked when they sent him down, whenever that was, and because he was one of the best pitchers in the bullpen, and the bullpen started to falter, and you're like, okay, should this guy not be coming back up? But apparently there was an interview, I think it was on Blair and Barker the other day, and they talked about how he actually needed some rest because he went down and he did get into some games in Buffalo and his velo wasn't there. So it really was a chance for him to get some rest and not have to do that at the expense of having a guy on the big league roster where they had to kind of protect a little bit. So that was apparently why they sent him down when they did. So the fact that he's back up, and I mean, he's given up 2 hits in his last 5-6 outings now.
Lights
had
out.
4 strikeouts in yesterday's game in the 2 innings. I mean, he's just racking up Ks left and right. I mean, he's been unbelievable.
Yeah. And thank you for correcting me, party people, because I didn't realize I said
Brendan
Fisher.
Yeah, I know. There's so many. It's Braden and Brendan. Brendan.
It is.
I knew who I meant, and I'm still impressed.
Who's the guy that was in Encino Man? Braden Frazier?
Brendan.
Brendan Frazier.
Well, it could be a Brendan.
I'm very confused. Does he pitch for the Jays?
Yeah.
Does he know Pauly Shore?
He does.
Hey, the Weasel.
Are they Weasel?
So, on that note, but he's just been a breath of fresh air. And just to think out this whole thing, it's okay. The Blue Jays literally got him for a throwaway trade. We toss Kevin Biggio to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you got Braden Fisher back. And Kevin Biggio is permanently cemented, it seems to be, in the where are they now category. He's still a minor league free agent. He hasn't played since like the month of May, I believe, at the major league level. So, and you got a youngster that has found a way to turn it on to the point where he's obviously missing plenty of major league bats and being used in a leverage heavy of late role for the Toronto Blue Jays. That wouldn't have been on my bingo card. Not gonna lie. Just like how the Brewers and the Blue Jays being the best two teams in baseball, we're not gonna be mine either. So, but I just can't say enough good things about how that piece and the bullpen in general has done a nice U-turn, and I think he's at the center of that.
Can we? I don't want to left turn too hard, but can we just talk briefly about the baseball gods just reaching their hand down when the umpires decide to make a trash call and blame it on the fact that it's a minor league stadium? I guess there's been 8 or 9 of these blatant this year. And
that home run,
the home run it's goofy. We can all see that the fan, whether Luke's was going to catch the ball or not, but then. Nathan's
in the field of play, and the ball is caught.
You're not to be there.
He can do it. Yeah. The physics of it are mind-boggling. If you somehow were still behind the fence, but saying.
I think the mind-boggling part is then Luke comes up and hits a home run and hits a dude in the hand and puts the what other game?
Dude, I still don't miss the trop. I still don't miss the trop. I'm happy to see the Ocean took the trop back to where it wanted. But I will say this, the fact that we won that game means I don't have to think about that. If we lost that game, that'd be quite upsetting. And I feel like we would all as a fan base be quite outraged because these are very important games for us right now. But it's just because the bats took care of it. We took care of it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We can look back on it like a quirky, fun little thing, move on.
Hey, that happened.
Yeah.
I think something special is happening when the Blue Jays have to go down to Florida, and they don't have to play in the Trop, but they're playing in the New York Yankees spring training complex while the Yankees are chasing them, and the Yankees are playing in Minnesota. And in that first game in that series, it was 2 former Blue Jays prospects who absolutely carved up the Yankees. When was the last time all those kind of things came together for the Toronto Blue Jays, right? Simeon Woods Richardson struck out 11 Yankees in 6 innings pitched, and Austin Martin had 4 RBIs, including a double. And then they almost beat them last night, too. The Yankees were up 10-1, and Minnesota came back and made it 10-9. So the fact that the Blue Jays are playing in this, what should be a house of horrors, and yet are up 2-0 on the series, and the Yankees are having trouble in Minnesota, that's got to feel good for longtime Blue Jays fans.
So did anybody also see it was breaking news right before this show that the Tampa Bay Rays are apparently going to be officially for sale in the very near future.
We should buy them.
I was about to say, I've got some cash.
Let's make them a minor league team.
Yeah,
I have $11.
I have 15. There we go.
Is that too much?
No, we're good.
Let's put it together. It's Canadian though.
Fair enough.
So
there is what are they called? There's a Twitter account that is trying to drum up enough support to petition to buy the Pittsburgh Pirates. Who is that?
I forget who you're talking about, but I do remember hearing about that because the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates, as we mentioned earlier in this show, is not the nicest to Major League Baseball players.
They have a tracker. They're like, okay, we are at 11,000 followers. So if everyone pitches in $8,000, we can buy the team. And the more followers we get, then the
smaller the slice.
So good.
Hey, if the Green Bay Packers could do that to keep the team in Green Bay, there's nothing stopping any other Major League Baseball team being bought by a private company other than organizing to it. On that note, it will just be exciting to see if they actually finally do something with that team, because it has just been insane to watch over the years. They were so close so many times. We were in those horror situations with them. They've been in World Series. They can't buy that next piece to get over the hurdle. And if they even had enough to buy one more guy, it might have been enough in a couple of those situations. So if they become the Orlando, whatever the hell Disney calls them, I'm not terribly upset with it. So anyways,
I like what Mike says in the chat. Put the Rays in Montreal.
Yeah.
I mean, this, if you grew up watching the Expos in the, late 80s, early 90s, a lot of these Tampa Bay teams have the same feel of those Expos teams.
Exactly.
Right? They hit well, they run well, they pitch well. I mean, that was kind of the makeup of those Expos teams. So yeah, I mean, they need a stadium there, probably more so in Montreal than they do in Tampa Bay, but
yeah, they got that documentary coming out soon on the who killed the Montreal Expos
on the Netflix.
Netflix. I'm actually looking very forward to watching that because people forget that Blue Jays win 92, 93 back to back. We were not a bad team, but very banged up at the time the strike happened. And there was still a good chance that the same run would have happened a third year in the row, because people forget that the 92, 93 team was still a 500 level team that finally turned it on at the right time. But the Montreal Expos were by far the best team in Major League Baseball in 1994. And that was including a draft pick of Tom Brady that year, but that's besides it. So it just kills me that franchise ended up to where it was and moving it to Washington, D.C., which they've obviously found success with that franchise since, but is what it is, I guess. But that's how business of the baseball parts that we don't appreciate it as much as fans, because we would rather just keep rooting for our team selfishly where it's supposed to be. Thank you, Oakland A's horrible management too for that one. But it is what it is, I guess. But I'm looking very forward to checking that documentary out and seeing who they got involved in that whole thing, because it looks like it's going to be a fun evening of baseball knowledge to watch.
Yeah, they look like they got some big stars. Pedro's on it. Vladdy Sr.'s on it.
Larry Walker.
So many good players on that team. Like, I mean, you could go up and down. Tim Raines, like just so many.
Andre Dawson.
Yeah, just devastatingly good baseball players.
I saw a baseball card that Andre signed
Gary Carter.
Gary, yeah.
Yeah, I saw an Andre Dawson Expos card come through the shop the other day, and he might have one of the prettiest autographs I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, it looked like somebody printed it, but it was 100% an on-card autograph. I couldn't believe it. I guess he is just that awesome, Dawson.
The Hawk.
So, but yeah. Anyways, Tampa Bay is currently winning the game at the moment, but Kevin Gausman has been looking good since allowing the one run. But on that note, that's the first run that I think anybody's scored off of Kevin Gausman now since the beginning of 2 starts ago. That's so pretty good.
And remember, he went through a bit of a rough patch, I think in June or July. I mean, rough considering for him, where it was
wasn't splitting.
That was exactly it. So the fact that he has gotten back to being, this is probably the best we've ever seen Gausman, this current run that he is on.
Fire.
They pulled up like his game scores the other day, and he's having some of the best performances of his career in this last month or so. One guy that we forgot to mention though in the rotation, who's having a really good run to end the year, is Chris Bassett.
Yeah,
and he's monster run.
Yeah,
and I don't know where he fits in the playoff rotation either.
A while ago, I was like bullpen. No, and like when we were having our bullpen troubles, like it feels like yesterday, and then also 2 years ago in my heart, but it's been a few weeks ago, and I was like, we're done. We're cooked. Our bullpen is so trash. But there's always a way of turning it around. Like the bullpen gods, there's bullpens are so fickle, and when they're doing great, I'm like, this is the best. But when they do bad, I hate them forever, even when they're doing great again. But the bullpen can either they're too tired, the starters were going long enough. But with bullpens, it's make or break, and I feel like the bullpen fairies came back and we're in their favor again. And then our bullpen's doing great. But if you do notice, the nights where our bullpen is doing excellent, the bats are extra silent, which is still frustrating.
Very. But back to Bassett, we were talking literally 2 weeks ago. It's like maybe he was one of the ones that actually for this playoff rotation slips to the bullpen because he has so many weird pitches.
Yep.
He's smarter than batters. He can locate. It's a different look, all these different reasons. And now I'm questioning my thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe he listens to the cast and he was like, "Oh, geez, these guys are right. Maybe I should
I better get going."
Here.
I think the more interesting part. Go ahead.
I was gonna say if they do clinch the division though, they go straight to the ALDS. So it's not like it's a hurry up. You only have maybe 2 guys to throw. In the ALDS, you at least are going to throw 4 pitchers at, maybe even all 5. Probably not all 5, but you will get 4 guys in there. So it's not like, the wild card series where you maybe get to pick 2 guys. So that could, that should have an effect on how they line things up.
Yeah. So question we have in the comments from is right now, obviously the other catch to this whole thing is this is technically Bass's last ride, and he's doing a very damn good job with it. He will be a free agent after this Blue Jays season. He's making $22 million right now. I have a strange feeling he's going to get that for a single season with how he's done this year. But to that point, I guess we'll see what happens. But I would love to keep seeing him in Blue Jay Blue one way or the other, because he has honestly become a fan favorite, and he has been one of those guys that just wears it and is a big part of this locker room, I think. So,
yeah, I can see them bringing him back. I mean, your depth right now, you've got Gausman, you've got Barrios signed. And then, Yesavage has obviously got an inside track. The way Alek Manoah has been rehabbing this year, he's probably going to get a chance to win one of those spots. So that's 4.
Yep.
What about Bowden Francis?
And I was just about to say,
Francis, saw him in the Dougie yesterday.
He looks like they really like him, and that he's proven that he can be good at the major league level. He's also proven that he can be very bad at the major league level. So I think if you sign Bassett, you're then at least 4 starters deep before you get into the question marks.
Yeah,
and that's
I agree.
Always a good way to go into a season.
Yeah. Or we could just be the 5th team to pay, Max Scherzer again next season. Yeah. Anyways, is there any topics that we have not touched on that the collective here would like to chit chat on before we do our picks to click and wrap this thing up, and make sure we give Matt his wonderful shameless self-promoting time?
I'm good, baby.
Good deal. So, Matt, I'm going to let you pick the winner here, but I'm going to mix these names up so they're not in any of the order. But since our last recording last week, out of these gentlemen, who had the best week in Toronto Blue Jays baseball? And we have Dalton Varsho, Alejandro Kirk, IKF, and Addison Barger.
I think Kirk had it. He had that walk-off sack fly.
Barger,
none of those names really stood out, though.
At this point, like I said, it's pick one of them. We had a bad week, apparently.
Yeah, none of them were bad, but none of them did anything spectacular. Yeah, I would say Kirk, that sack fly. He also tied the game in his first pitch at bat. That was the Astros series, right? So, yeah, go with Kirk.
So, unfortunately, that now pretty much, I think, seals the deal for Liz on this whole season. Again.
Kenny.
So, back-to-back victories. Honestly, right now, the only way we can catch Liz, I think, at this point, Jason, is depending if the Blue Jays are playing in the World Series, which I'm hoping for the sake of beating Liz, that is a true fact.
That is. That's the only reason. Damn you, New Kenny.
Well, all you got to do is just pick the best guy every week. I don't know.
No, that's not. Sometimes you have to go weird and pick one of the trainers or pick Ace. You gotta try stuff.
Go for Ace and a half, actually. The kids say Ace. So, Liz, it's your pick, and you're back for the first week here in a bit. So we got you. What's up?
Okay, who am I picking this week? Well, I can't pick Tim Leeper because he's no longer our first base coach, but maybe I was gonna. Let's go with Vladdy.
Weird.
Going Vladdy, hoping that he's going to keep bouncing back.
Well, actually, Vladdy isn't the most obvious answer. There's a more obvious answer.
No, not for you.
Not for you. No,
not if you want to win. Not if you want to win.
No. See, pretty much every win that she's gotten so far this year has been Vladdy or Bo.
Yeah. I like to pump the tires on different parts of the team. Yeah, I like my finger in a lot of pies. Trying.
So we're gonna let Matt pick.
Go, Matt.
Go ahead, Matt.
I think Andreas Jimenez is going to have a big week.
There you go.
There it is.
See, dark horse.
He's going to run away with the position job, right?
Number 0 in your program, number 1 in your hearts.
There you go.
There you go. Jason, who you got, bud?
Oh, I've been thinking about this actually all week. I haven't been. I just started thinking about it 2 seconds ago. But I think I have to. The only person who has treated me properly all year long is my fellow old man, George Springer.
There you go.
So I'm counting on some Spranger dangers.
Perfect.
So good. And seeing I just love Kirky. I'm gonna pick Kirky's. I haven't picked him in like 2 months, it looks like. So Alejandro. So also actually nicknamed the Maple Beef. Troy Lyons says he's got Luke's on his pick.
I would have picked Luke's, but I think he got a small concussion from bashing into the wall the other
night.
Bud. He looked like he got hit by a car while he was lying down on the ground. I was like, get up, bro.
Is he all right?
He's fine. You can only bruise your pride so much.
He bruised his beard.
Yeah.
He pulled his
That thing is like a helmet in all of itself there. It's epic. So, Matt, it's your microphone. Tell us all the Blue Jays fans and everything where they can find you. Your shameless self-promoting time starts now.
All right. Yeah, you can find me over at Jays Journal, where I am the site expert. So I write articles, I edit articles, I pitch story ideas there. And our number count went up since the last time I was on this show. So I don't know how many of your listeners were reading, but we had some really good numbers since the last time I was on this show. So if anyone that's watching this started, subscribe to Jay's Journal right after the show, that was awesome. I thank you. And if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that now. On Twitter, I'm at Matthew Sookram. On Instagram, I'm at Matthew Sookram. And we've also got a new podcast for the North Bay Battalion this year. So if you're into OHL hockey, it's called Troops Trio, and we run it weekly. Sometimes we're live, sometimes we're pre-taped. Depends on what the producer is feeling that day. So, yeah, so check it out. It's on the North Bay Battalion YouTube channel and under the Troops Trio tab. So check it out if you're into some junior hockey stuff.
Good deal. And we are still technically the official Blue Jays podcast of jaysjournal.com. In case nobody's put those dotted lines together, we are so much fortunate more now to have Matt in the driver's seat that we can chat a little bit more often, and the relationship has been repaired.
That's right. Yeah.
So, look at us.
Look at us. All the go team. And now we know.
Go.
So thank you very much to the 400 of you that are still currently in here listening to our horrible shenanigans. We greatly appreciate it. Next week, make sure you join us. And if you have not given her a follow yet, you please do, because she is a wonderful human being and a wonderful baseball mind amongst itself. Brooke Knows Ball on Twitter and TikTok and all these kind of things.
I didn't even know we're having Brooke Knows Ball on. That's huge.
Yeah, yes. You didn't know? Oh, you know.
No, I've been at baseball games. Oh my God, that's huge.
So rad.
I love Brooke. I messaged her, and she's bringing another friend who is actually a Blue Jay fan in Hey Comey. So,
this is awesome.
So we're gonna have a fun time next week. So make sure you hit us up in the wonderful world that is the podcast verse right here. We are going to talk all things playoff push next week, because that is the topic that Brooke would like to talk about, and she is very interested in talking with the collective here on the fact that the Blue Jays are one of the teams that are changing the game to actually hit the ball in play. That is one of her highest of all high preaching points.
We're going to be doing
she's very happy.
Lots of math.
Yes. All kinds of math. She's brilliant with the math. Oh my God. Looking forward to it. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we are going to have some fun with the 5-peat here on the tablet. So join us and we'll have
it on a bigger screen.
Good. Exactly.
If you're following from home, throw us up on your big screen so your neighbors can see it.
There you go. Good deal. Party people will have a great time, and go Blue Jays. And hopefully we have another comeback in store. Cheers.
Later, buds.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!